Welcome back, travelers, to the realm where night eternal reigns. In our previous journeys, we explored the cosmic fractures that birthed this parallel reality and delved deep into the 8 champions who stand against the darkness. We discovered the Night Lord's reality warping influence and came to understand each Nightfarer's unique role in humanity's final hope. Tonight we venture into the transformed landscape itself. We explore Limveld, the world that was once Limgrave, now fundamentally altered by forces beyond mortal comprehension. Here, familiar geography has been reshaped by cosmic horror, and the very land tells stories of transformation, resistance, and the ongoing struggle between order and eternal night. Limveld is not merely a battlefield, it is a living testament to the Night Lord's power and the world's resilience against forces that seek to unmake reality itself. Once a country that thrived thanks to the power of gods, Limveld is now nearing its end, gradually being eroded by the night that has saturated the land. This is where the Nightfarers conduct their sacred 3-day hunts, where they gather strength and face escalating challenges before confronting the Night Lord directly. But Limveld is far more than a simple arena for conflict. It is a world caught in the process of cosmic transformation, where the familiar and the alien exist in constant tension. The landscape itself shifts and changes with each expedition, ensuring that no 2 journeys through this transformed realm are identical. The layout of Limveld changes each time the Nightfarers visit. Spaces relocate, enemy types fluctuate, and the very geography responds to forces that operate beyond the boundaries of natural law. Tonight we will explore the mysteries hidden within this ever-changing world. We will discover the 13 key locations that dot the landscape, each offering unique challenges and rewards. We will understand the night's tide, that wall of blue flames, and violet rain that progressively claims the land each day, driving all toward inevitable confrontation. We will delve into the phenomenon known as shifting Earth, extraordinary events that transform entire regions of Limveld into something entirely new, bringing with them challenges and rewards that exist nowhere else in this reality. From the familiar ruins that now serve different purposes, to the underground networks accessible through ancient tunnels, from the churches that offer sanctuary and strength, to the mysterious towers sealed by arcane barriers, every location in Limveld tells part of the larger story of a world under siege. We will explore how the very environment serves as both obstacle and opportunity, how the land itself has become a participant in the cosmic struggle, and how the Nightfarers must navigate not just enemies and challenges, but a reality that actively reshapes itself according to alien will. This is not simply a tour of locations and mechanics, but an examination of what it means for an entire world to exist at the boundary between familiar reality and cosmic horror. Through Limveld's mysteries, we will discover how geography, environment, and the very concept of place take on new meaning when subjected to forces that operate beyond normal understanding. So settle in, close your eyes if you wish, and let us embark upon a journey through the transformed landscape of Limveld. Let us discover the secrets hidden within a world that serves as both battleground and testament to the power of cosmic transformation. Chapter 1. The Nature of Limveld. To understand the world that the Nightfarers must navigate, we must first comprehend the fundamental transformation that has occurred in this parallel reality. Limveld represents more than simply an alternate version of familiar geography. It is a realm that has undergone cosmic metamorphosis, where the very principles governing existence have been altered by forces that operate beyond normal understanding. In our familiar timeline, Limgrave stood as a land of golden grass and ancient ruins, touched by melancholy but still recognizable as a place where natural laws held sway. The wind carried familiar scents, the light fell in predictable patterns, and while danger lurked in many forms, the world itself remained fundamentally comprehensible to mortal consciousness. Limveld presents a stark contrast to this familiar landscape. Here the same geographical foundations exist, but they have been subjected to influences that transform their essential nature. The hills roll in patterns that echo Limgrave's topology. The ruins stand in locations that correspond to familiar landmarks, yet everything has been fundamentally altered by the Night Lord's cosmic influence. The transformation extends far beyond surface appearances, where Limgrave's ruins told stories of the rise and fall of mortal civilizations. Limveld's structures speak to something more disturbing, the systematic rewriting of reality according to alien principles. These are not simply buildings that have fallen to time and neglect, but locations that have been repurposed by cosmic forces for ends that mortal minds struggle to comprehend. The very air of Limveld carries different qualities than its counterpart realm. The atmosphere itself has been saturated with energies that reflect the Night Lord's growing influence over the fundamental forces that govern existence. This saturation affects not just the environment, but the way consciousness itself operates within this transformed space. Most remarkably, Limveld exhibits a property that defies normal understanding of how physical reality should function. Its layout changes with each expedition. This is not simply a matter of different paths being available or new areas becoming accessible. The very geography shifts and transforms, with bases relocating, enemy configurations fluctuating, and the relationships between different locations altering according to principles that seem to operate independently of physical law. This constant transformation serves multiple purposes within the cosmic struggle playing out across the realm. It prevents any force from becoming too familiar with the terrain, ensuring that tactical advantages based on geographical knowledge remain temporary. It demonstrates the Night Lord's power to manipulate reality at the most fundamental levels. Most importantly, it creates a world that exists in permanent flux, where stability and predictability become luxuries that can never be taken for granted. The changing nature of Limveld also reflects deeper truths about the relationship between consciousness and environment when cosmic forces are involved. In normal reality, landscapes provide stable reference points that allow consciousness to maintain orientation and understanding. When the landscape itself becomes fluid and unpredictable, consciousness must adapt by developing new forms of resilience and flexibility. The Nightfarers must navigate this ever-changing realm while maintaining their sense of purpose and identity. Each expedition presents them with familiar elements arranged in new configurations, forcing them to remain alert and adaptable while drawing upon accumulated experience that may or may not apply to current circumstances. Yet, despite this constant flux, certain fundamental structures persist within Limveld. 13 key locations remain consistent across expeditions, serving as anchor points around which the more fluid elements of the geography arrange themselves. These locations provide islands of relative stability in a sea of cosmic transformation, though even they are subject to modifications and variations that reflect the Night Lord's influence. The persistence of these key locations suggests that even cosmic-level reality manipulation has limits or constraints that prevent complete arbitrary restructuring. Whether these constraints result from the inherent properties of the landscape, resistance from forces opposed to the Night Lord, or limitations within the Night Lord's own power remains unclear. What is certain is that these stable elements provide crucial support for the Nightfarer's operations. Without some degree of predictability and familiarity, even the most adaptable warriors would struggle to develop effective strategies for navigating and utilizing the transformed landscape. The balance between change and stability creates a dynamic environment that challenges without overwhelming. The underground networks of Limveld add another layer of complexity to the transformed geography. Ancient tunnel systems provide alternative routes through the landscape, creating three-dimensional navigation possibilities that extend the tactical options available to those who understand how to access and utilize them. These subterranean spaces appear to follow different rules than the surface geography, suggesting that the transformation affects different layers of reality in different ways. The underground areas can be accessed through specific entry points and navigated using dedicated map systems that reveal the hidden geography beneath Limveld's surface. This hidden infrastructure implies that the transformation of the realm involved not just surface changes, but deep structural modifications that extend into the foundations of the landscape itself. The relationship between surface and underground elements creates opportunities for tactical movement that would be impossible in more conventional terrain. Nightfarers who master the underground networks can appear in unexpected locations, avoid surface dangers, and access resources that might otherwise be unavailable. This vertical complexity adds depth to exploration and tactical planning that rewards thorough understanding of the realm's full structure. Environmental hazards and unpredictable events further demonstrate Limveld's transformed nature. Explorations may be interrupted by enemy ambushes that seem to emerge from the landscape itself, as if the very ground has become hostile to intruders. Sudden meteor strikes create immediate dangers, while also potentially opening new areas or revealing hidden resources. Even more dramatic transformations can occur without warning. Volcanic craters may erupt with bubbling lava, creating new geographical features while bringing fire-based challenges and opportunities. Dark forests shrouded with corruption may spread across previously clear areas, creating zones where the very air becomes toxic to those who dare explore without proper preparation. These dynamic events demonstrate that Limveld exists in a state of active transformation rather than passive alteration. The landscape is not simply a static result of the Night Lord's influence, but an ongoing expression of cosmic forces that continue to reshape reality according to evolving purposes. Each expedition takes place within a world that is actively becoming something new. The temporal aspect of these changes adds another layer of complexity to understanding Limveld's nature. Some transformations appear to be permanent, fundamentally altering the baseline configuration of the realm. Others prove temporary, lasting only long enough to affect specific expeditions before reverting to previous states or evolving into entirely different configurations. This temporal variability suggests that the Night Lord's influence operates through multiple mechanisms with different time frames and scopes. Some changes may reflect immediate tactical responses to current events, while others might represent long-term strategic modifications designed to serve larger purposes that operate on cosmic timescales. The psychological impact of navigating such a fluid environment cannot be understated. Mortal consciousness relies heavily on environmental stability to maintain orientation and purpose. When the landscape itself becomes unreliable, travelers must develop new forms of mental resilience that allow them to function effectively despite the absence of familiar reference points. The Nightfarer's ability to adapt to Limveld's changing nature becomes one of their most crucial skills. They must learn to navigate by principles that transcend specific geographical knowledge, developing intuitive understanding of how the transformed landscape operates, while remaining alert to new variations and modifications. The very concept of exploration takes on new meaning within Limveld. Rather than simply discovering fixed locations and learning optimal routes between them, exploration becomes an ongoing process of understanding current configurations while preparing for future changes. Each expedition provides new data about how the realm operates, while simultaneously becoming outdated as conditions continue to evolve. This dynamic relationship between explorer and environment creates a form of co-evolution where the Nightfarer's growing understanding of Limveld influences their tactical approaches, while the realm's continued transformation challenges them to develop ever greater flexibility and adaptability. In the broader context of the cosmic struggle between the Night Lord and those who oppose it, Limveld serves as both battlefield and proving ground. The transformed landscape tests not just combat skills and tactical planning, but the fundamental capacity of mortal consciousness to maintain purpose and effectiveness when operating within reality systems that follow alien logic. The realm thus becomes a microcosm of the larger conflict, a space where familiar elements and alien influences exist in constant tension, where stability and change compete for dominance, and where the ultimate outcome depends on the ability of conscious beings to adapt and overcome challenges that exceed normal understanding. Through Limveld's mysteries we see reflected the essential nature of the struggle against cosmic horror, not just a battle between different forms of power, but a contest between different concepts of what reality should be, and how consciousness should relate to the environments that shape and constrain it. Chapter 2. The Night's Tide. Among all the transformed elements of Limveld, perhaps none is as immediately threatening or symbolically significant as the phenomenon known as the Night's Tide. This manifestation of the Night Lord's power serves as both practical challenge and cosmic metaphor, representing the gradual but inexorable advance of forces that seek to claim all of reality for eternal darkness. The Night's Tide appears as a wall of blue flames that threatens to envelope Limveld and its round table hold. These are not flames as mortals understand them. Light do not consume fuel or generate heat in conventional ways. Instead, they represent a form of cosmic fire that burns according to principles that operate outside normal physical laws. The blue coloration of these flames carries deep significance within the context of the Night Lord's influence. Blue light exists at the higher energy end of the visible spectrum, suggesting forces that operate with intensities that approach the limits of what mortal senses can perceive. The cold blue fire creates an atmosphere of alien beauty combined with existential menace. As each day progresses within Limveld, the Night's Tide advances with mechanical precision, progressively shrinking the area available to the Nightfarers for exploration and operation. This advance follows predictable timing patterns, providing approximately 15 minutes of relative safety before the tide begins its inexorable encroachment toward the center of the realm. The progression of the Night's Tide creates a fundamental shift in the nature of each expedition. What begins as open exploration with multiple options gradually transforms into increasingly constrained tactical situations where choices become limited and urgency escalates. This temporal pressure ensures that no expedition can become entirely comfortable or complacent. Approximately 5 minutes into each day, the first notification arrives. The night's tide grows stronger. This warning provides nightfarers with crucial information about the changing tactical situation, while creating a sense of mounting pressure that influences decision-making throughout the remaining exploration time. The psychological impact of these warnings cannot be understated. The knowledge that safe territory is constantly diminishing creates a form of temporal claustrophobia that affects how risks are evaluated and priorities are established. Each decision must account not just for immediate benefits and dangers, but for the constantly decreasing time available for future actions. As the tide continues its advance, a second warning appears around 11.5 minutes into each day. Rains gather, portending the tide of night. This announcement signals the approaching conclusion of the exploration phase and the beginning of the night encounter that will determine progression to the next day. The progression from abstract threat to immediate reality demonstrates how the Night Lord's influence operates through escalating pressure rather than sudden, overwhelming force. By providing warnings and gradual escalation, the tide creates opportunities for tactical adaptation while maintaining relentless forward momentum. The rain that accompanies the night's tide represents another layer of the phenomenon's complex nature. This is not natural precipitation formed through atmospheric processes, but a manifestation of cosmic transformation that turns the very air violet with alien influence. The rain serves as both herald and weapon, announcing the tide's approach while carrying the Night Lord's power directly to everything it touches. Standing within this violet downpour subjects the Nightfarers to periodic damage that gradually drains their health and vitality. The rain does not affect enemies, sites of grace, or items within the environment. Only the conscious beings who oppose the Night Lord's influence experience its harmful effects. This selective impact demonstrates the directed nature of the phenomenon rather than indiscriminate environmental destruction. The fact that sites of grace remain functional within the tide's influence suggests that not all sources of power are equally vulnerable to the Night Lord's corruption. These sacred locations continue to provide their restorative benefits even when surrounded by hostile cosmic forces, indicating that competing sources of divine influence maintain some degree of independence. The immunity of items and environmental features to the tide's direct effects creates interesting tactical considerations. Nightfarers can continue to gather resources and utilize environmental advantages even within the tide's influence, though the constant health drain makes such activities increasingly risky as exposure time increases. The progressive nature of the damage means that brief incursions into tide-affected areas remain possible for urgent tactical needs. Experienced Nightfarers can time their movements to accomplish specific objectives within the danger zone while minimizing their exposure to the health-draining effects. If Nightfarers remain within the night's tide for extended periods, the consequences become severe. Complete health loss results not just in defeat, but in the loss of a character level and all accumulated runes. This harsh penalty ensures that the tide cannot be ignored or treated as a minor inconvenience, while also providing incentive for careful positioning and timing. The level loss mechanic creates particular concern because character progression is crucial for facing the escalating challenges of each expedition. Losing levels to tide exposure can significantly impact a Nightfarer's effectiveness in subsequent encounters, potentially compromising the entire mission's chances of success. The rune loss compounds the problem by eliminating accumulated resources that might have been used for equipment purchases or character improvements. This double penalty, reduced capability, combined with lost advancement opportunities, makes tide exposure one of the most costly mistakes possible during expeditions. As night falls and the tide reaches its maximum encroachment, the nightfarers find themselves confined to a relatively small area where they must face waves of enemies, culminating in a boss encounter. This confined space eliminates the possibility of evasive tactics or strategic withdrawal, forcing direct confrontation with whatever challenges the night presents. The tactical implications of this confinement extend beyond simple combat considerations. With limited space available, positioning becomes crucial for survival, coordination between team members becomes essential, and resource management takes on critical importance since resupply opportunities are severely limited. The ring-shaped area created by the tide's maximum advance creates natural choke points and tactical boundaries that both enemies and nightfarers must work within. Understanding how to utilize this confined space effectively often determines the difference between successful progression and expedition failure. The boss encounters that occur within the tide's confinement represent some of the most challenging aspects of each expedition. These enemies must be faced without the possibility of retreat or repositioning to more favorable terrain, requiring careful preparation and coordinated tactics to overcome. At the break of dawn, the night's tide recedes to its original position, restoring access to the full expanse of Limveld for the next day's activities. This daily cycle of advance and retreat creates a rhythm that structures each expedition while providing clear temporal boundaries for different phases of activity. The recession of the tide does not eliminate the evidence of its passage. Areas that were previously affected may retain subtle changes or modifications that reflect their exposure to the Night Lord's influence, creating a form of environmental memory that accumulates across the expedition's duration. The cyclical nature of the tide's advance and retreat reflects larger patterns in the cosmic struggle between order and chaos, familiarity and alienation, safety and threat. Each cycle provides opportunities for recovery and preparation, while also serving as a reminder that such respite is temporary and that greater challenges continue to approach. The predictable timing of the tide's movements allows experienced nightfarers to develop sophisticated tactical approaches that maximize the use of available time while minimizing exposure to dangerous conditions. Learning to work efficiently within the tide's constraints becomes a crucial skill for expedition success. The night's tide also serves important symbolic functions within the larger narrative of cosmic transformation. It represents the gradual but inexorable advance of forces that seek to claim familiar reality for alien purposes, demonstrating how cosmic horror often operates through patient encroachment rather than sudden, overwhelming assault. The tide's blue flames and violet rain create an aesthetic of beautiful menace that reflects the complex nature of cosmic threats. The phenomenon is simultaneously magnificent and terrifying, alien and strangely attractive, suggesting that the forces reshaping reality operate according to aesthetic principles that transcend simple concepts of good and evil. The selective nature of the tide's effects, harming conscious opponents while leaving the environment largely intact, Mars suggests that the Night Lord's conflict is primarily with awareness and agency rather than with existence itself. The tide seems designed to eliminate resistance rather than to destroy it indiscriminately. The temporal pressure created by the tide's advance forces, rapid decision-making, and efficient action, skills that prove valuable not just for immediate survival, but for confronting the larger challenges that the Night Lord represents. Learning to function effectively under such pressure develops capabilities that extend beyond tactical combat into broader resilience and adaptability. The relationship between the tide and the confined boss encounters creates a progression from freedom to constraint that mirrors larger themes about how cosmic forces gradually limit options and possibilities until final confrontations become inevitable. The tide serves as both warning and preparation for the ultimate confrontation with the Night Lord itself. In the context of the 3-day hunt structure, the Night's Tide provides consistent tactical challenges that help prepare the Nightfarers for the escalating difficulties they will face. Each day's experience with the tide develops skills and coordination that prove essential for surviving the increasingly dangerous encounters that culminate in the Night Lord confrontation. The tide's mechanical precision and predictable timing also provide stability within an otherwise chaotic and unpredictable environment. While the landscape shifts and transforms around them, the Nightfarers can rely on the tide's consistent behavior to structure their tactical planning and resource allocation. Through the Night's Tide, we see how cosmic horror can manifest as environmental pressure rather than direct assault, how temporal constraints can be as threatening as physical dangers, and how the gradual transformation of familiar spaces can be more unsettling than sudden dramatic changes. The tide represents the Night Lord's power in its most patient and inexorable form, a reminder that some threats cannot be defeated through direct confrontation, but must be endured, adapted to, and ultimately overcome through persistence and skill rather than raw force. Chapter 3: The 13 Key Locations. Within Limveld's ever-changing landscape, 13 key locations serve as anchor points of relative stability amidst the cosmic flux. These sites represent fixed elements that persist across expeditions, providing the Nightfarers with reliable reference points around which the more fluid aspects of the transformed geography arrange themselves. These 13 locations are not arbitrary landmarks, but carefully positioned sites that offer varying degrees of difficulty and reward. Each location type serves specific functions within the larger ecosystem of Limveld, providing different resources, challenges, and opportunities that contribute to the Nightfarers' preparation for their ultimate confrontation with the Night Lord. The persistence of these key locations suggests that even cosmic-level reality manipulation operates within certain constraints or follows underlying patterns that prevent completely arbitrary restructuring. Whether these constraints result from the inherent properties of the landscape, resistance from forces opposed to the Night Lord, or limitations within the Night Lord's own power, remains a subject of speculation and wonder. Understanding the nature and function of each location type becomes crucial for successful navigation of Limveld's dangers and opportunities. The Nightfarers must learn not just where these locations can be found, but how to approach them tactically, what resources they provide, and how to maximize their benefits while minimizing the risks associated with accessing them. Field bosses represent perhaps the most immediate and obvious challenges scattered throughout Limveld's landscape. These are powerful entities discovered in unnamed locations across the realm, territorial guardians, that will attack anyone who wanders too close to their claimed domains. Unlike the scripted encounters that occur during night phases, field bosses present optional challenges that offer significant rewards for those bold enough to face them. The territorial nature of field bosses reflects a form of organization within Limveld's hostile ecosystem. These entities have claimed specific areas as their domains and will defend them against intrusion, suggesting that even within the Night Lord's transformed reality, concepts of territory and possession continue to operate, albeit in modified forms. The rewards offered by field boss encounters often prove crucial for expedition success. These powerful entities typically drop valuable equipment, resources, or upgrades that can significantly improve a Nightfarer's capabilities for subsequent challenges. However, the optional nature of these encounters means that teams must carefully evaluate whether the potential benefits justify the risks involved. The difficulty of field boss encounters varies considerably, creating situations where teams may discover enemies far beyond their current capabilities. Facing the wrong field boss at an inappropriate time can significantly damage an expedition's chances of success, making enemy assessment and tactical discretion crucial skills for survival. Abigails represent a unique category of location within Limveld areas that function as eternal jails containing captive bosses that can be challenged through the use of stone sword keys. These mysterious structures suggest that imprisonment and containment remain possible even within the Night Lord's transformed reality, indicating that some forms of cosmic authority continue to operate independently. The requirement for stone sword keys to access Evergale encounters creates an interesting resource management dynamic. These keys represent valuable items that must be carefully allocated among available opportunities, forcing strategic decisions about which imprisoned entities are worth the cost of confrontation. The bosses contained within Evergales appear to be scaled based on character level, ensuring that these encounters remain challenging regardless of when they are attempted during an expedition. This scaling mechanism prevents Evergales from becoming trivial encounters, while also ensuring that they don't present insurmountable obstacles early in character progression. The Eternal Jail concept suggests that these locations serve as storage or containment facilities for entities that might otherwise roam freely throughout Limveld. The ability to choose when and whether to release these captives provides tactical flexibility while also preventing the landscape from becoming overwhelming with uncontrolled powerful enemies. Townships offer rare sanctuaries within Limveld's dangerous landscape, safe areas where Nightfarers can find respite from constant threats and access merchant services that provide crucial resources for continued survival. These locations represent pockets of civilization that have somehow maintained their protective qualities despite the cosmic transformation affecting the broader realm. The safety provided by townships becomes particularly valuable given the constant pressures and dangers that characterize most of Limveld. These locations allow teams to regroup, assess their current situation, plan future actions, and acquire necessary supplies without the immediate threat of enemy assault. The merchants found within townships typically offer expanded inventories compared to those encountered in more dangerous locations. This enhanced selection reflects both the security of the location and the higher likelihood that valuable goods can be displayed and traded without immediate risk of theft or destruction. The persistence of mercantile activity within townships suggests that economic relationships and resource exchange continue to function even within the Night Lord's transformed reality. These locations serve as proof that not all aspects of civilization have been eliminated by cosmic transformation. Churches represent some of the most strategically important locations within Limveld, serving as sources of additional flask charges that are crucial for sustained survival during extended expeditions. These sacred spaces provide tangible benefits that often determine the difference between expedition success and failure. The ability of churches to provide flask charges suggests that these locations maintain connections to divine or sacred power sources that operate independently of the Night Lord's influence. The The continued functionality of these religious sites indicates that spiritual authority retains some degree of autonomy, even within transformed reality. The typical emptiness of churches, containing only the altars that provide their beneficial effects, creates an atmosphere of abandoned sanctity. These locations feel like remnants of a more populated and active religious life that has been disrupted but not entirely eliminated by cosmic transformation. The variation in church availability, with up to 4 potentially appearing in a single expedition, creates dynamic resource management considerations. Teams must decide how to prioritize church visits while balancing the benefits of increased healing capacity against the time and risks required to access these locations. Sorcerer's Rise locations present unique puzzle-based challenges within Limveld's landscape. These tall towers are sealed by magical barriers that require specific actions to breach, typically involving the discovery and destruction of seals located in nearby areas. The puzzle-based nature of Sorcerer's Rise challenges provides variety within Limveld's predominantly combat-focused encounters. These locations reward exploration, observation, and problem-solving skills rather than pure martial prowess, creating opportunities for different types of player engagement and satisfaction. The requirement to find and destroy seals in nearby areas encourages broader exploration of the surrounding geography, while also creating multi-stage challenges that extend beyond simple location access. These extended puzzle sequences add depth and complexity to the exploration experience. The rewards obtained from successfully opening Sorcerer's Rise locations often reflect their puzzle-based nature, providing magical items, arcane knowledge, or unique capabilities that cannot be obtained through simple combat encounters. Spectral Hawk locations serve a crucial transportation function within Limveld's geography, housing the mystical birds that provide aerial travel across the realm's dangerous landscape. These locations represent nodes in a transportation network that allows nightfarers to traverse distances quickly while avoiding ground-based threats. The Spectral Hawks follow designated paths that can be viewed through the map interface, providing predictable transportation routes that can be incorporated into tactical planning. This predictability allows teams to develop strategies that rely on specific timing and positioning relative to hawk flight patterns. The aerial transportation provided by Spectral Hawks becomes particularly valuable when dealing with the Night's Tide and its progressive restriction of available territory. The ability to rapidly relocate through aerial travel can mean the difference between being trapped by the advancing tide and successfully reaching safety. The mystical nature of these transportation creatures suggests that they operate according to magical principles that allow them to function reliably even within the Night Lord's transformed reality. Their continued availability implies that some forms of magical infrastructure have survived the cosmic transformation. Underground locations, accessible through tunnel networks, add vertical complexity to Limveld's geography, providing alternative routes and hidden spaces that extend exploration possibilities beyond the surface landscape. These subterranean areas follow different rules and organizational principles than surface geography. The underground map system that reveals these hidden areas suggests sophisticated infrastructure that predates the current transformation. The persistence of these tunnel networks indicates that Limveld's transformation affected surface and underground areas differently, creating layered complexity in how space and navigation function. The alternative routes provided by underground access can offer tactical advantages during surface conflicts, emergency escape options when surface travel becomes too dangerous, and access to resources or locations that might otherwise be inaccessible due to surface conditions. The three-dimensional nature of navigation that includes both surface and underground elements requires expanded tactical thinking and spatial awareness. Teams must learn to think vertically as well as horizontally when planning movements and evaluating strategic options. Wandering mausoleum locations represent one of the most unique features carried over from the original Elden Ring reality, though adapted to serve new functions within Limveld's transformed landscape. These structures, originally mobile monuments with massive bells between their legs, now appear in static form that allows for equipment replication through climbing mechanics. The equipment duplication capability provided by wandering mausoleums creates powerful opportunities for character enhancement and tactical flexibility. The ability to replicate valuable gear allows teams to optimize their equipment loadouts in ways that would otherwise be impossible given the randomized nature of equipment acquisition. The climbing requirement to access mausoleum services adds a physical challenge component to equipment duplication, ensuring that these powerful benefits require some degree of skill and effort to obtain. This requirement also creates vulnerability windows during which climbing nightfarers may be exposed to enemy attacks. The transformation of these originally mobile structures into static installations reflects broader changes in how familiar elements from the original reality have been adapted to serve new functions within the Night Lord's transformed landscape. The interaction between these various location types creates a complex ecosystem of opportunities and challenges that require strategic thinking to navigate effectively. Teams must evaluate not just individual locations, but the relationships between different location types and how they can be combined to achieve optimal expedition outcomes. Resource management becomes crucial when dealing with multiple location types that require different forms of investment, whether stone sword keys for evergoals, time and risk for field bosses, or tactical positioning for optimal church access. These competing demands force careful prioritization and planning. The geographic distribution of these key locations across Limveld's landscape ensures that teams cannot access all available opportunities within a single expedition. This limitation creates meaningful choices about which benefits to pursue while accepting that others must be foregone. The persistence of these 13 key locations across the constantly changing landscape of Limveld provides essential stability that allows the Nightfarers to develop expertise and tactical familiarity despite the cosmic forces seeking to eliminate all predictability and comfort from their operational environment. Through these diverse location types, we see how even within a reality transformed by cosmic horror, familiar concepts of sanctuary, challenge, resource, and opportunity continue to operate, though modified by the alien influences that now shape the fundamental nature of existence within this parallel realm. Chapter 4: Shifting Earth Events. Beyond the constant flux of Limveld's everyday geography lies an even more dramatic form of transformation, the phenomenon known as shifting Earth events. These extraordinary occurrences represent the Night Lord's power to fundamentally restructure entire regions of the realm, creating new areas with unique challenges, enemies, and rewards that exist nowhere else within the transformed landscape. Shifting Earth events are expedition modifiers that affect the geography of Limveld on a massive scale, altering boss and enemy spawns, introducing specialized challenges, and revealing secrets that offer opportunities to gain unique rewards unavailable through any other means. These events demonstrate the Night Lord's ability to reshape reality, not just gradually, but through sudden and complete transformations that rewrite the basic nature of entire territories. The mechanism that triggers these events reflects the cosmic struggle playing out across Limveld. Shifting Earth events are caused by defeating Night Lords or the powerful bosses that appear at the end of successful expeditions. Each victory against these cosmic-level threats creates ripple effects that propagate throughout the realm, manifesting as large-scale geographical transformations. This connection between victory and transformation suggests that the Night Lord's influence operates through complex feedback systems rather than simple direct control. The defeat of major servants or manifestations of the Night Lord's power creates instabilities or opportunities that allow for dramatic restructuring of affected areas. The temporary nature of shifting Earth modifiers adds another layer of complexity to their impact on Limveld's ecosystem. These events persist for some time after their initial triggering, affecting multiple expeditions before conditions eventually return to normal baseline configurations. The duration varies based on expedition activity and the passage of time within the Round Table hold. Nightfarers possess limited control over these events through the ability to accelerate their conclusion by using beds within the Round Table hold to pass time. This mechanic allows teams to skip events they find too challenging or inappropriate for their current capabilities, while accepting the loss of unique rewards that those events might provide. 4 distinct shifting Earth events have been documented within Limveld's transformed reality, each bringing unique environmental themes, specialized enemy types, and exclusive rewards that cannot be obtained through any other means. These events unlock in sequential order as Nightfarers achieve victories against specific Night Lords, creating a progression system that introduces new challenges as capabilities develop. The sequential unlocking mechanism ensures that Nightfarers encounter these dramatic transformations in an order that corresponds to their growing experience and power levels. This progression prevents overwhelming new players with the most challenging modifications, while providing experienced teams with increasingly complex obstacles to overcome. The crater represents the first shifting Earth event that most Nightfarers will encounter, typically unlocking after defeating the Night Lord known as Tricephalos. This event transforms the northern section of Limveld into a massive volcanic landscape characterized by pools, rivers, and waterfalls of flowing lava that create both obstacles and opportunities for those brave enough to navigate the transformed terrain. The volcanic transformation brings with it specialized fire elemental enemies that possess natural resistance to flame-based attacks while delivering their own fire-based assaults. These environmental modifications require tactical adaptation from teams accustomed to more conventional enemy types and damage patterns. Navigation through the crater requires careful route planning to avoid the most dangerous lava flows, while identifying safe passages that allow access to valuable resources and encounter opportunities. The underground temple that becomes accessible through the crater's depths represents one of the most significant architectural additions created by shifting Earth events. The temple contains encounter opportunities with specialized bosses, including fire prelates and other flame-themed entities that guard the area's most valuable treasures. These encounters often prove challenging due to the environmental hazards that complement the enemy's natural abilities. The ultimate reward for successfully navigating and completing the crater's challenges comes in the form of access to an ancient forge that allows weapon upgrading to legendary rarity while removing minimum level requirements. This capability represents one of the most powerful character enhancement opportunities available within Limveld, making the crater's dangers worthwhile for teams that can overcome them. The Mountaintop event transforms a different section of Limveld into a frozen highland reminiscent of the mountaintops of giants, complete with treacherous paths, extreme elevation changes, and specialized cold weather enemies, including frost giants and ice dragons. This event requires entirely different tactical approaches than the fire-themed challenges of the crater. The vertical nature of mountaintop geography creates unique navigation challenges that require careful attention to spirit spring locations and switchback paths. The limited number of sites of grace within the area means that teams must commit to extended expeditions without frequent opportunities for healing and resource replenishment. The cold-themed enemies within the mountaintop possess abilities focused on frostbite damage and status effects, requiring different defensive strategies than fire-resistant equipment used for crater expeditions. The presence of multiple dragons and giants creates encounters that test different aspects of tactical coordination and individual skill. The reward for reaching the mountaintop's peak comes in the form of upgrades that enhance frostbite damage and status buildup, while providing attack bonuses when operating near frostbite effects. These bonuses prove particularly valuable when facing cold-themed night lords, but remain situational for other encounter types. The Rotted Woods event creates perhaps the most dangerous environmental transformation within Limveld, converting a section of the landscape into a scarlet rot-infested forest, where the very air becomes toxic to those without proper protection. This event combines environmental hazards with specialized enemy encounters in ways that test both tactical skills and resource management. The passive scarlet rot buildup throughout the forest creates constant pressure on teams to either minimize exposure time or develop strategies for managing the ongoing health drain. Luminescent red flowers scattered throughout the area provide temporary relief from the status effect, creating tactical decision points about movement and positioning. The fort within the Rotted Woods contains a treasure map that leads to a hidden giant flower deep within the forest. This multi-stage quest requires navigation through some of the most dangerous areas within the event, while solving positional puzzles to access hidden platforms and secret locations. The reward for completing the Rotted Woods challenge proves exceptionally valuable. Complete immunity to scarlet rot, combined with increased maximum health and health recovery when immediately attacking after taking damage. These bonuses create significant advantages for subsequent encounters while eliminating one of the most dangerous environmental hazards within Limveld. Noklateo, the shrouded city, represents the most complex and challenging of the shifting earth events, introducing a massive urban environment with labyrinthine layouts and enemies that utilize both physical and magical attacks. This event tests every aspect of Nightfarer capabilities while offering the most powerful reward available through shifting earth modifications. The city's maze-like structure requires careful navigation and mapping to reach the deepest areas where the most significant challenges and rewards await. The urban environment creates different tactical considerations than the natural landscapes of other events, with buildings, narrow passages, and vertical elements affecting combat approaches. The enemies within Noklateo demonstrate sophisticated combat capabilities that combine physical prowess with magical abilities, requiring teams to adapt their strategies for opponents that cannot be easily categorized or countered through simple tactical approaches. The ultimate challenge within Noklateo involves confronting the natural born of the void, a boss encounter that represents one of the most difficult optional fights available within Limveld. This encounter tests the full range of team capabilities while offering rewards commensurate with its extreme difficulty. The reward for completing Noklateo's challenges allows characters to rise one time from defeat, essentially providing an additional life during subsequent encounters. This capability proves invaluable during Night Lord confrontations and other high-stakes situations where a single mistake might otherwise end an expedition. The weapon duplication altar within Noklateo provides additional benefits for teams that successfully navigate to its location. This altar allows the creation of duplicate copies of valuable weapons, enabling power stance configurations or providing backup equipment for dangerous encounters. The strategic implications of shifting Earth events extend beyond their immediate challenges and rewards to their impact on overall expedition planning and resource allocation. Teams must decide whether to pursue these optional modifications based on their current capabilities, available time, and assessment of whether the risks justify the potential benefits. The timing of shifting Earth events often creates interesting tactical situations where the night's tide may close around the modified areas during the second day of expeditions. This timing can force teams to choose between accessing valuable event rewards and maintaining safe positioning relative to the advancing tide. The random nature of which events become active means that teams cannot rely on specific modifications being available for particular expeditions. This uncertainty requires flexible strategic planning that can adapt to whatever environmental modifications are currently accessible. The powerful nature of shifting Earth rewards means that successful completion of these events can significantly impact the difficulty balance of subsequent encounters. Teams that obtain legendary weapon upgrades, status immunities, or resurrection capabilities often find themselves better equipped to handle challenges that might otherwise prove overwhelming. The achievement system associated with shifting Earth events provides additional motivation for pursuing these challenging modifications. Discovering the secrets of all shifting Earth events unlocks golden trophy achievements that serve as recognition of mastery over Limveld's most demanding optional content. The lore implications of shifting Earth events suggest that the Night Lord's transformation of Limveld operates through multiple mechanisms with different scopes and timeframes. While the daily geographical flux represents constant minor adjustments, shifting Earth events demonstrate the capacity for sudden major reconstructions that completely alter the nature of entire regions. The connection between Night Lord defeats and environmental transformation implies that the cosmic struggle between order and chaos plays out not just through direct confrontation, but through the gradual reshaping of reality itself. Each victory or defeat ripples through the fabric of existence, creating new possibilities and configurations. The temporary nature of these events suggests that even cosmic-level transformations require ongoing effort to maintain, and that the underlying reality possesses some degree of resilience that tends to restore previous configurations unless actively maintained by continued cosmic intervention. Through shifting Earth events, we see the Night Lord's power expressed in its most dramatic and immediate form, the ability to completely rewrite entire sections of reality according to alien will, creating new environments that follow different rules, while offering unique opportunities for those bold enough to explore the boundaries of what transformed existence can become. Chapter 5: Environmental Mysteries and Secrets. As we reach the conclusion of our journey through Limveld's transformed landscape, we turn our attention to the deeper mysteries that permeate this realm, the secrets hidden not just in specific locations or dramatic events, but woven into the very fabric of existence itself. These are the environmental enigmas that speak to larger truths about cosmic transformation, reality's resilience, and the ongoing struggle between familiar order and alien influence. We know from the fragmentary records available to us that Limveld was once a country that thrived thanks to the power of gods, but is now nearing its end, gradually being eroded by the night that has saturated the land. We also understand that the landscape changes with each expedition, that unpredictable events like meteor strikes can occur, and that the gods appear to have been driven out by the Night Lords. From these confirmed foundations, we can begin to explore what these transformations might mean and what secrets they might contain. The most profound mystery of Limveld lies not in any single location, but in how the entire realm has become a form of cosmic communication. Every transformed vista, every shifted geographical feature, every alteration to familiar landmarks represents a message written in the language of environmental change. The fact that Limveld's layout shifts with each expedition suggests that the Night Lord's influence operates through principles of fluidity rather than fixed dominion. Unlike conquest, which imposes a static new order upon existing structures, the cosmic forces at work here seem to operate through constant negotiation between what was, what is, and what might become. Consider how this differs from conventional territorial control. Traditional conquest leaves permanent markers, fortifications, monuments, clear boundaries that declare ownership. But Limveld's changes follow different logic. The realm exists in a state of perpetual possibility, where each expedition witnesses a unique configuration of geographical and architectural elements. This suggests that the Night Lord's power operates through principles that transcend simple spatial domination. The realm serves as both battlefield and canvas, where cosmic forces express their nature through environmental manipulation rather than merely claiming territory. The randomized meteor strikes, enemy ambushes, and shifting layouts create a world where new choices emerge as the battlefield evolves with each expedition. What we might interpret from these patterns is that reality itself has become an active participant in the cosmic struggle, reshaping itself in response to forces beyond mortal comprehension. Each sudden celestial intervention, each unexpected environmental shift, speaks to a deeper intelligence operating through the landscape itself. Despite this constant flux that characterizes most of Limveld, certain elements demonstrate remarkable persistence. The 13 key locations that anchor each expedition represent stable points in an otherwise fluid reality, an observation that reveals crucial insights about the nature of cosmic transformation. These 13 locations remain consistent across expeditions, except when the dramatic shifting Earth events alter portions of the landscape. They offer varying degrees of difficulty and reward, serving as reliable waypoints in an otherwise unpredictable world. Why do these specific configurations persist when so much else changes? We might speculate that these locations represent expressions of fundamental patterns that operate beyond the Night Lord's ability or desire to alter. Sacred geometry often reflects underlying mathematical relationships that govern reality itself, patterns so basic to existence that even cosmic transformation must work around them rather than through them. The number 13 itself carries significance across many mystical traditions, often representing completion beyond the traditional 12-fold patterns of cosmic order. That Limveld's stability rests upon 13 anchor points suggests that its transformation follows principles that honor certain metaphysical constants while allowing freedom in other areas. These anchor points serve as proof that not all aspects of reality are equally vulnerable to cosmic manipulation. Some patterns run so deep, connect to such fundamental structures of existence, that they maintain their integrity even when the surface reality that contains them undergoes radical transformation. They whisper to us of laws that transcend even cosmic authority, mathematical truths that remain constant across all possible realities. Beneath Limveld's shifting surface lies another layer of mystery entirely. Networks of tunnels and underground passages operate according to their own mysterious logic, maintaining their own mapping interface and suggesting sophisticated infrastructure that predates the current cosmic transformation. The existence of these underground networks raises profound questions about Limveld's history and the depth of cosmic transformation. Underground passages suggest established civilization, planned development, and long-term habitation, all indicators of a stable society that existed before the current crisis. The fact that these tunnels maintain their own mapping system implies that they operate according to different organizational principles than surface geography. While the landscape above shifts with each expedition, the underground maintains its own logic and consistency. This creates a layered reality where different levels of existence follow different rules, where depth provides sanctuary from the chaos that reigns above. From what we can observe, this underground stability might represent infrastructure so fundamental to the realm's function that even cosmic forces cannot safely alter it without risking complete systemic collapse. Alternatively, these networks might be protected by countervailing forces, perhaps remnants of divine influence that successfully resist the Night Lord's transformative power. The underground systems also suggest that Limveld's current inhabitants have inherited rather than created much of their supporting infrastructure. The Nightfarers operate within frameworks established by previous civilizations, using systems they may not fully understand for purposes those original builders never intended. This brings us to one of the most profound mysteries surrounding Limveld, the fate of the gods who once blessed this land. From the evidence available to us, it appears that Limveld has been abandoned by the gods, or they were driven out by the Night Lords. This abandonment raises questions that extend far beyond simple divine politics. The departure or defeat of gods represents a fundamental alteration in the metaphysical structure supporting reality itself. Gods typically serve as anchoring points for cosmic order, sources of power that maintain the basic laws governing existence within their domains. Their absence creates opportunities for alternative organizing principles to establish themselves. The Night Lord's influence may not represent simple invasion, but rather the filling of a metaphysical vacuum left by divine withdrawal. This would explain why transformation appears so thorough and fundamental. There are no competing cosmic authorities to limit or constrain the alien influence, yet the persistence of certain sacred sites, the churches that provide flask charges, the sites of grace that continue functioning, suggests that divine influence may not be entirely eliminated. These locations might represent either final bastions of divine power or areas where divine essence became so deeply embedded in the landscape that it cannot be easily extracted. We might wonder why gods would abandon or be driven from a realm they once blessed. Divine beings typically possess power that operates on different scales than mortal conflicts. For gods to be forced from their domain suggests either willing withdrawal for purposes we cannot comprehend, or confrontation with forces that operate on cosmic scales that dwarf traditional divine authority. The mystery deepens when we examine how the remaining landscape tells its stories. Beyond the dramatic transformations and obvious mysteries, Limveld's environment speaks through countless smaller details that require careful observation to appreciate. Every modified building, every altered landmark, every combination of familiar and alien architectural elements contributes to a larger narrative about adaptation, resistance, and transformation. The realm contains familiar architectural elements from what appears to be the original Limti, but the functionalities of these areas have vastly changed from their original purposes. A building that once served as a peaceful merchant's establishment might now house dangerous enemies, or valuable treasures. Familiar architectural forms persist, but their contents and purposes reflect new organizing principles. This adaptive approach to transformation suggests that the Night Lord's influence operates through principles of efficiency and pragmatism rather than pure destruction. Existing infrastructure provides valuable frameworks that can be repurposed rather than rebuilt, though the repurposing may completely alter their essential character. The psychological impact of these functional transformations cannot be understated. Familiar forms that house alien purposes create cognitive dissonance that undermines confidence in environmental reading. Nightfarers must constantly reevaluate their assumptions about what familiar structures might contain or represent. From the patterns we observe, it seems that cosmic transformation prefers adaptation over destruction, reshaping existing forms to serve new purposes rather than starting fresh. This preference reveals something important about the nature of cosmic forces at work in Limveld. They demonstrate a respect for existing forms, even while fundamentally altering their purposes, an approach that honors history while serving entirely different goals. Perhaps this tells us that even alien intelligence recognizes the value of established patterns, the efficiency of working with existing structures rather than creating everything anew. Throughout their expeditions, Nightfarers report that exploration can be interrupted by enemy ambushes or unpredictable events like sudden meteor strikes. These spontaneous manifestations reveal that Limveld's transformation operates through active, ongoing processes rather than completed changes. The realm exists in a state of constant becoming, where reality remains fluid enough for dramatic events to manifest without warning. Meteor strikes, in particular, suggest that Limveld's transformation extends beyond terrestrial concerns to encompass cosmic relationships. These celestial interventions might represent deliberate tactics by cosmic forces, natural consequences of metaphysical instability, or responses by external powers attempting to influence events within the realm. The unpredictability of these events creates an environment where adaptability becomes the most crucial survival skill. Traditional tactical planning must accommodate the possibility that fundamental assumptions about terrain, enemy placement, and available resources might change without warning during any expedition. This constant potential for dramatic change transforms exploration from simple navigation through static space into dynamic negotiation with an actively transforming environment. We might theorize that Nightfarers must develop skills for reading environmental cues that indicate imminent change, recognizing when apparent stability might be about to give way to sudden transformation. The realm itself becomes a partner in each expedition, sometimes helpful, sometimes hostile, but always actively engaged in shaping the outcome. This partnership between consciousness and environment reflects a deeper truth about the nature of reality in Limveld. The boundary between observer and observed, between actor and stage, has become permeable in ways that conventional reality rarely allows. The 3-day expedition structure creates its own temporal mysteries that reflect larger patterns of cosmic organization. Each cycle represents a complete narrative arc, preparation, escalation, and confrontation that repeats with variations across multiple expeditions. After each expedition's conclusion, whether successful or failed, the Nightfarers return to begin again, suggesting cyclical rather than linear progression through the cosmic conflict. This repetitive structure might represent metaphysical constraints that govern how cosmic conflicts can unfold. Perhaps the struggle exists outside conventional time, and therefore requires non-linear approaches to resolution. Each cycle brings variations, different layouts, enemy configurations, and available opportunities, suggesting that repetition serves purposes beyond simple practice. Each iteration might represent attempts to find optimal approaches to fundamentally unsolvable problems, or explorations of different possible outcomes within cosmic scenarios that admit multiple valid resolutions. The cyclical nature implies that some challenges cannot be overcome through single decisive actions, but require sustained engagement across multiple attempts. From this perspective, the Nightfarer's repeated expeditions become a form of cosmic meditation, each cycle offering new insights into the nature of the challenge they face, while gradually building the wisdom and capability necessary for ultimate success. Perhaps the deepest mystery of Limveld lies in how it maintains recognizable identity while undergoing fundamental transformation. The realm remains clearly related to the original Limgrave, while being unmistakably something new and different. This balance between familiarity and alienation creates psychological landscapes that operate beyond simple physical geography. Nightfarers must navigate emotional and cognitive territories shaped by the tension between recognition and displacement, comfort and unease, memory and present experience. The preservation of certain familiar elements alongside radical alterations suggests that cosmic transformation might operate through principles of selective preservation rather than wholesale replacement. Some aspects of original reality possess qualities that make them valuable even to alien organizing principles, while others prove incompatible with new cosmic arrangements. Understanding which elements persist and which elements change might provide insights into the essential nature of both the original reality and the transforming forces. These patterns of preservation and alteration create maps of cosmic values that reveal what different forms of consciousness consider fundamental versus expendable. The interplay between familiar and alien creates opportunities for recognition that transcend cultural boundaries. Even cosmic forces, it seems, must work with certain fundamental patterns that consciousness requires for navigation and meaning-making. The environmental mysteries of Limveld ultimately center around questions of resistance and adaptation. How does familiar reality maintain any coherence when subjected to cosmic forces that operate according to completely different principles? What allows certain elements to persist while others undergo complete transformation? Sites of grace continue to function throughout the realm, providing healing and character advancement opportunities despite the cosmic transformation. These persistent elements might represent either successful resistance to alien influence or successful adaptation that allows original functions to continue within new cosmic frameworks. The distinction carries important implications for understanding whether salvation lies in restoring original conditions or in learning to thrive within transformed circumstances. The ability of certain sacred and functional elements to maintain their essential purposes suggests that cosmic transformation, however radical, must still operate within certain limits. Even alien organizing principles, it appears, must accommodate certain fundamental requirements of conscious existence. The continued availability of healing, growth, and the accumulation of experience suggests that consciousness itself imposes constraints on how reality can be restructured. Perhaps the greatest secret hidden within Limveld's environmental mysteries is that adaptation and resistance need not be opposing strategies. The realm demonstrates that preservation of essential functions can occur within radically altered contexts, that familiar purposes can be served by unfamiliar means. Finally, the greatest environmental mystery of Limveld concerns the ultimate purpose behind its transformation. Is the realm's current state a temporary condition during ongoing cosmic conflict, a stable end state representing successful transformation, or a transitional phase in some larger process that extends beyond the scope of current understanding. The constant cycle of expeditions, the persistent challenges, and the ongoing struggle between order and chaos suggest that Limveld exists in a state of cosmic testing. The realm might serve as a proving ground where different approaches to reality organization compete for validation. Alternatively, Limveld could function as a laboratory where cosmic forces experiment with alternative arrangements of existence, or a battleground where fundamental questions about the nature of order and consciousness receive practical resolution. The Nightfarer's role in this larger process remains unclear. Are they participants in cosmic experimentation, agents of restoration, working to return Limveld to its original state, or pioneers developing new approaches to existence that might eventually transcend both original and transformed conditions? These questions extend beyond the immediate tactical concerns of any single expedition to encompass larger mysteries about consciousness, reality, and the cosmic forces that shape both. Through exploring Limveld's environmental mysteries, we encounter not just puzzles to solve, but fundamental questions about existence itself. The secrets hidden within this transformed landscape speak to the deepest concerns of conscious beings everywhere. How do we maintain identity while undergoing necessary change? What elements of familiar reality deserve preservation when transformation becomes inevitable? How do we navigate between the comfort of the known and the necessity of adaptation to new circumstances? In Limveld's environmental mysteries, we find reflected our own struggles with change, growth, and the challenge of maintaining essential identity while adapting to circumstances that require fundamental transformation. The realm serves as both mirror and map, reflecting our own cosmic situation while providing guidance for navigating the territories where familiar and alien intersect. As we conclude our exploration of these environmental mysteries, we carry with us not just understanding of a fictional realm, but insights into the nature of existence itself. Limveld's secrets remind us that reality itself remains mysterious, that familiar forms can house alien purposes, and that the most profound transformations often preserve essential elements in ways that honor both what was and what must become. Through these mysteries, we learn that exploration of any transformed landscape requires not just courage and skill, but the wisdom to distinguish between what must be preserved and what can be allowed to change, between resistance that serves life and resistance that merely clings to familiar forms. In the end, Limveld's greatest secret may be its demonstration that consciousness itself represents the ultimate anchor point in any transformed reality, the one element that maintains continuity across all cosmic changes, while providing the capacity for recognition, adaptation, and growth that allows any transformation to carry forward the essential values that make existence meaningful. And so we reach the end of our journey through the transformed landscape of Limveld, having walked together through a realm where familiar geography has been reshaped by cosmic forces beyond mortal understanding. We have explored a world caught in the process of becoming something entirely new, while retaining echoes of what it once was. Tonight, we ventured beyond the surface of locations and mechanics to discover the deeper stories written in stone and soil, in shifting architecture and persistent sacred sites. We examined how the Night Lord's influence operates not through simple conquest, but through a complex process of transformation that respects certain fundamental patterns while radically altering others. We discovered that Limveld serves as more than just a battlefield for the Nightfarer's struggle. It functions as a living document of cosmic transformation, a realm where every shifted landmark and altered structure tells part of a larger story about the nature of reality itself when subjected to forces that operate beyond normal understanding. Through the 13 key locations that anchor each expedition, we glimpse the mathematical constants that even cosmic transformation must honor. In the underground networks that maintain their own mysterious logic, we found evidence of civilizations that built their foundations so deep that even alien influence cannot fully uproot them. The persistence of sites of grace and sacred churches revealed that some forms of divine essence become so embedded in the landscape that they continue to function even when the gods themselves have departed. We explored how the night's tide serves as both environmental threat and cosmic metaphor, demonstrating how forces of transformation advance with patient inevitability while providing opportunities for adaptation and resistance. The progressive nature of its encroachment teaches us that some challenges cannot be avoided, only prepared for and endured with wisdom. The 4 shifting Earth events showed us how dramatic transformation can create opportunities alongside dangers, how volcanic craters and frost-covered peaks, rotted forests, and shrouded cities each offer their own unique rewards for those brave enough to navigate their particular hazards. These events remind us that change, however dramatic, often brings possibilities that did not exist before. Through examining the environmental mysteries and secrets of Limveld, we discovered that the realm's greatest teachings concern the nature of identity and adaptation. How do we maintain our essential selves while adapting to circumstances that require fundamental change? How do we preserve what truly matters while allowing necessary transformation to occur? Limveld provides answers, not through direct instruction, but through demonstration. The realm shows us that consciousness itself serves as the ultimate anchor point in any transformed reality. Even when geography shifts, when familiar structures serve alien purposes, when the very laws governing existence undergo revision, awareness remains constant. The capacity for recognition, learning, and growth persists across all cosmic changes. The Nightfarer's repeated expeditions into this transformed landscape represent more than tactical missions or desperate survival attempts. They embody the fundamental relationship between consciousness and environment, the ongoing dialogue between what we recognize and what we must learn to navigate. Each expedition becomes a lesson in adaptation, each cycle an opportunity to develop greater understanding of how to thrive within transformation rather than merely endure it. As we conclude our exploration of Limveld's mysteries, we carry forward insights that extend beyond the boundaries of any fictional realm. The environmental stories written in this transformed landscape speak to universal experiences of change, loss, adaptation, and growth. They remind us that reality itself remains fundamentally mysterious, that familiar forms can indeed house alien purposes, and that the most profound transformations often preserve essential elements in ways that honor both past and future. The rain that falls within the night's tide, the blue flames that mark its boundaries, the violet downpour that damages only those who oppose cosmic transformation. These elements create an atmosphere that transcends simple environmental effects. They establish a mood that reflects the deeper themes we have explored, the beauty and terror of fundamental change, the way familiar elements can become alien while retaining their essential forms. In the end, Limveld teaches us that exploration of any transformed landscape requires more than courage and tactical skill. It demands the wisdom to distinguish between what must be preserved and what can be allowed to change, between resistance that serves life and resistance that merely clings to familiar forms out of fear. The realm demonstrates that consciousness and environment exist in constant dialogue, That awareness shapes the reality it observes, while being shaped by the landscapes it navigates. Through this reciprocal relationship, transformation becomes not something that happens to us, but something we participate in creating. As you settle into rest tonight, let the mysteries of Limveld remind you that change itself can be a teacher, that unfamiliar territories often contain hidden wisdom, and that the capacity for adaptation represents one of consciousness's greatest gifts. The Night Lord's transformation of this realm may represent cosmic horror, but it also demonstrates reality's endless capacity for renewal and rebirth. The stories written in Limveld's transformed geography will continue unfolding across countless expeditions, each cycle revealing new secrets, while honoring the eternal patterns that anchor all existence. The Nightfarer's struggle continues, but so does their growth, their understanding, and their development of skills for navigating realities that honor both familiar and alien principles. Rest well, knowing that, like the Nightfarers themselves, you possess the capacity to adapt to whatever transformations await, while maintaining the essential qualities that make you who you are. The mysteries of transformed landscapes will always beckon to those brave enough to explore them, and wisdom will always emerge for those patient enough to listen to the stories that environments tell. Now close your eyes, let your breathing slow, and enjoy the gentle rain and fire ambience that surrounds you tonight.